Welcome to the Lotus Riche Ignite Show. It's time to get ignited. Let's go.
It's a great day in every way. It's a great day in every way. And look at the curls are flowing. They're flowing and it's going. So today we have a fantastic show for you. We have a COO coming in the house today that is a woman who sets the world on its axis, if you will, because she helps people to understand what it means to persevere. And today she's here to help you to persevere. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing her because I know many of you might say, hey, we saw the flyer and we know Miss LaWanna Bradford is in the house, and we know that she's a speaker. We know that she's an author. We know that she's a multi-show host. So Dr. Lotus, just bring her on. So I always like to do what my team asked me to. But before we start that, I'm going to ask you to take your phone, take your iPad, take your laptop, whatever apparatus you have, and come on in and get in where you fit in, because I've always got room around my table for you, your friends, and your frenemies. That's right. Go ahead and invite your friends in. Tag, share, especially share this with someone you care about. And with no further ado, the next voice I'm going to be bringing to you is the COO. She's going to help you grow. Go tag someone you know.
Welcome to the Lotus Riche Ignite Show. Please welcome the COO of the Bradford Group, LLC, the lady that puts the power behind the pen, LaWanna Bradford.
Oh, yeah, she's in the house now. Let's get it. She is in the house. Hello. It's always great to see you, LaWanna. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lotus. I'm so excited about this conversation.
It's always a pleasure. So let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, but also something that's near and dear to your heart. How you've grown, how you've persevered through struggle, through challenge, and through triumph. And also through losing your father, just like I lost my father and I lost my mother. There were tough times, but incredibly, you're still standing. So let's get right into it, LaWanna. I know many of my audience members, they know who you are. But for some of those who are just meeting you for the first time, I'd like you to take a few minutes and tell people more about you.
All right. Well, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. How about that? As Dr. Lotus said, I'm LaWanna Bradford, and I am the COO of the Bradford Group as well as the Bradford Group Consulting, where on one side we do commercial investment mortgages, the other side business management consulting. And my goal and my whole MO, if you will, is to help fuse the intersect between strategy, finance, and business excellence. And I do that through understanding what's happening in the marketplace, the shifts, helping to translate that into meaningful strategic actions so that businesses can not only survive, but thrive. Because often businesses think the reason why I'm not doing well is because I don't have enough money. But often it's not the money that leads your success. It's having the knowledge and wisdom on when to shift, when to pivot at times, and when to stay. But the key thing is knowing what your lane is and thriving in that lane. So that's what I do. In my background, I come from a corporate background as a strategist, performance analyst, financial analyst, and have been a serial entrepreneur for now going on 30 years. I'm dating myself, but I love it. I wouldn't be anywhere else. And again, my goal is just to help position businesses for success, because when businesses succeed, families succeed, communities succeed, and guess what? We're setting up the next generation for success.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. So come on, y'all, put in number 10 in the comment, because we want to set families up for success. And I'm happy you said that, because I remember not too long ago, you and I had a conversation about your parents, and predominantly, I'm going to say your dad. And we sat in that moment, and you talked about how your dad set you up for success. Can we talk about that?
Yes.
All right. So tell us first about your dad. Your dad was military, just like me. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I have a special place in my heart for our dad. I never got to meet him in person, but we've shared quite a few stories about our dad. So tell us a bit about his military history, and then let's move right into it.
Yeah, thank you for asking. And, we're just coming off Memorial Day, so I really appreciate being able to bring Dad into the equation. My dad was born in 1930, and this is what's amazing, in a little town called Mabee, Missouri, of 240 people. And what's amazing is coming from that, a little country town, and rising to the military rank that he did of a command sergeant major was quite remarkable. Not only that, but he spoke 5 languages fluently. And in his journey in the military, he joined in 1948. It was still a segregated army. He joined the 24th Infantry Division and is truly a Buffalo Soldier. So he doesn't just wear the T-shirt; he is one. He holds that role in history, and I started to learn more about that in the presence of Blacks in the military not too long ago. And I think it's sometimes when we're with our parents, we take things for granted and just not really digging in. But during that time, he shared that even though things were segregated, and when the Army was desegregated, even though constitutionally it was immediately enacted, it was
right
for all the units experience this quote unquote equality. And through his journey in the military, he was also a combat veteran, served both Vietnam and Korea. He learned emotional intelligence and leadership. He worked with General, oh my gosh, Weisberger from with Vietnam, and always worked with top leadership, and learned that even as a Black man, no matter what society put on you, saying these constraints or these lanes, he defied that. He's like, okay, this is what you may say I am, but I know who I am, and I'm going to rise up in my genius and do so in a non-combative way, but one that stands firmly in who I am as a Black man, as a family man, as a patriot. I always said if you cut down, he'd bleed red, white, and blue. But as someone who was faithful to his calling and to his purpose, because he said ever since he was a knee-high to a grasshopper, he would say he always knew he wanted to be in the military.
Right.
And what a blessing to always know what you were called to do, and to do so all the way until the end. He ended up working to preserve the history of the Buffalo Soldier, preserving the one of the last remaining Black officers clubs in the United States. So that's now on the historic registry, but that took 25 years of fighting, going back and forth to DC, and getting the support, the financing that he needed. So I just learned so much to him about perseverance, dedication, love, and just standard of excellence.
I love that. So I know that they say that behind every great man stands a great woman. Yet I know that your mother stood beside him.
Yes.
And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about your mother, because she's taught you in so many ways about perseverance and how to stand tall when so many around you are falling. Um, Sometimes because they don't have that support, or sometimes because of fear, or whatever it is. But she's always taught you to stand tall and keep going. So let's talk about your mother.
Yeah, so I was remiss. I didn't give my father's name, Command
Yeah,
Sergeant
I was
Major Harlan L. Bradford Sr., because there's actually three Harlan Bradfords, so I have to say
right.
senior. But my mother, Bessie L. Bradford, she was married to my father for 69 years. So they were together for a total of 70 years. And he always says he rescued her from the farm. And she, believe it or not, was quite interesting. Her first career was as a munitions specialist. She actually made munitions.
Wow.
Yeah. So she did from
All
that,
of some
Dr.
stuff.
Lotus, I mean, to the totally opposite side, to becoming a hairstylist.
Oh, wow.
And when she and Dad they met and have obviously traveled the world, had my brother and I, she was able to, especially when we lived in Europe, to be a stay at home mom, but not a stay at home mom in the traditional sense. She was doing girl trips before they were a thing. So she was part of the NCO, non-commissioned officers wives club, and they traveled all over Europe. They traveled to Africa, some of the Middle Eastern countries. So she made sure that the nanny was in place, Dad
Mhm.
was good, and she was gone.
I love it. I love it because she had to have her life. And you said they were married for 69 years, and they had to be doing something right, because sometimes people can't stay together for 69 seconds.
I know.
That's great. So here's to you, Mr. Harlan and Miss Bessie Bradford. We appreciate you, and we thank you for the gift that you have given the world, LaWanna Bradford. We thank you. So we know that perseverance, it's not an overnight thing. It
Yeah.
starts with a foundation. And your parents help to create that foundation for you so that you can thrive, not just survive. With your company, with the shows that you do, I know that you've experienced a lot of challenges, and we've talked about your company before. And I'd like, if you will, let's talk about some of the challenges, because I know we've got to have people out there saying, oh, yeah, she came from a two-parent family and, life was just roses. They were in the military. But that's not always so.
Right.
So let's talk about maybe two huge challenges that you experienced when it came to business, and then when it came to life, or vice versa. And how did you overcome and persevere?
Well, I first want to answer how I overcame, and I think that is because both my parents were very strong, disciplinarian, again, a standard of excellence, and they didn't believe in quitting. So it
Right.
was always never quit. If you sign up for something, you see it all the way through. However, Dad said there's always a time when you need to cut bait, meaning if you see you're drowning, don't just keep holding on, let the rope go, right?
Right.
So I would say for me, the biggest challenge with my business was during the 2007-2008 mortgage crisis. Here we are, we're in mortgages, but we were on the residential side. And as people know, banks were closing left and right. Mortgage brokers were closing. Homeowners were sending what we call jingle letters in. They're a letter with their key saying, I can't afford this mortgage anymore. And it was a really dark time for this country because it was the closest thing that we had experienced to the Great Depression. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to survive this? We had 13 employees at the time. Our ability to do loans was almost to a trickle, and then to a drop, and then it wasn't happening. And I turned to my parents and I said, Mom, Dad, I need your help. And so they got on a plane. I lived in Atlanta at the time. They were in Arizona. My dad flew out and he said, I need to see all your finances.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lotus, I was like, excuse me? I'm telling you I have a need. He said, I know, but you have a need and you're asking for my help. So that calls for transparency. Lay everything out on the table. So he looked at everything and he said, okay, I'm going to make sure you still have a roof over your head because we were at risk of losing our home.
Mm-hmm.
He said, food in your belly, you're going to make sure lights are on and gas in your car. But that business, that's totally on you.
Oh, wow.
And he said, because I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't tell you to leave your corporate job and track down this entrepreneurial lane. So you figure that one out. And I was so grateful for that. But then I get another knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, and what I did to keep my employees, and this is what I tell people never to do, I robbed from my future, Dr. Lotus. So I started pulling from my own retirement to keep them employed. Knowing what I know now about business and employees, I would have done it a little differently. Ultimately ended up having to let them all go anyway, and had only $7,500 left in the bank after I was trying to keep them on for a year and a half. And I get a knock on the door, and it's Chase Bank, and I'm being sued. And I'm like, excuse me? They're like, yep, because you have business debt, and I'm fine with paying, and I was still managing to pay this stuff on time. They said, no, we need all of this due. I said, I can't. And so they said, well, we're going to take you to court. And so I go to my parents. I'm like, hey, there's deep pockets there. They're going to help me out.
Right.
No. My dad said, what don't you understand? I told you, food in your belly, gas, roof over your head, lights on, but business is on you. And so I panicked. I'm like, what am I going to do? They can literally take everything from me.
Right.
And I knew a friend of mine, and this is where Dr. Lotus, you and I talk about the importance in collaboration and being aligned with the right leaders, the right counsel. So I went to a friend of mine who I knew had gone through something similar. And he said, well, I've been to law school, but I didn't pass the bar, but I can teach you how to represent yourself in court. Now, I can't guarantee you're going to win, but I can just give you some insight. So I became, a bedside law student with him and got ready for court. And I'm so proud to say that, we are now celebrating 20 years in business because I was able to represent myself and win.
Wow. That's wow. That's amazing because not too many people can do that. And I want to go back to something your father said. He said, roof, food in your belly, right? You did this one. So you had to really dig deep into your resources. I want to ask you this because I remember one time I was in the kitchen with my mom and I was crying. And she was like, what you crying for? And I was like, you know how it goes. Crying, the snot's running, you can't catch your breath. I don't know why that happens. That's that I can't catch my breath cry, right? And I was like, they were talking about me and blah, blah, blah. And she was at the stove cooking. And she says to me, they talked about Jesus, so who are you?
Mm.
And that was painful. It's painful. And at that moment, I think my mind was like, how could you say that? Right? But those are life lessons because I carried that with me my whole life through. And it's helped me to stay alive and to thrive. And I imagine, though, what was going through your mind when your dad said, no, baby, food and shelter. You've got to find out where were you mentally when he said that?
I was angry. Because mom and dad have always been there. And I guess now looking back, I was so dependent on them being that safety net.
Right.
And they weren't saying we're abandoning you.
Right.
They're saying we're going to make sure your needs, the most important thing, is taken care of. This is irrelevant to us. If it's that important to you, then fight for it.
Wow.
But I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to hear, sure, we'll shell out some money here. We'll make it easy. And I think that's where we do our children a disservice. We make the journey easy. Now, I think we should put things in place to give them some stepping stones, right? To give them a hand up. But when we're always saving them, they never learn survival skills.
And I like what you just said. If it's important, fight for it. How do you fight for it? One, if you know how to persevere. The second part of that question is, how do you fight for it if you don't have someone you can call and say, hey, the bank's coming after me. I need to save my hide. Can you kind of help me? I know you didn't graduate, but I know you know the law. If you don't have anyone, what would you say to people that say they don't have anyone? How can they persevere? So first, how do you persevere having someone that you can reach out to? And then how do you persevere when you believe that you have no one?
Well, I think whether you have someone there or not, your ability to persevere is an inside job. It's you. You have to have the mindset, the focus, the will, the grit, the determination to not say die. It's like, I'm going to press. You may not even know how to, but if you align and you're committed to that, then I believe the resources, the ideas, the clarity of mind will come. But it's an inside job. You could be surrounded with a cheerleading squad, but it's your journey and it's your walk, not theirs.
Okay. So how about if someone says, I never had anybody to teach me that. I don't have anybody, because I hear you saying, LaWanna, it's an inside job, but I'm at my wit's end. I just don't think I can make it. I don't think I can do it. Then what do? Do they call on God? Do they reach out to somebody? Do they call a person? Do they call you?
Yes, you can call me, but again, from an inside job, let's say you're not a person of faith, right? So you're not gonna call God. But we talk to ourselves all the time, consciously and unconsciously.
Yes.
So I want you to consciously start paying attention to the thoughts that you're saying. And when you're seeing those negative things popping up, like I can't do it, or I don't know how, change that. Even though you may not know how, say, at this moment, the path may not be clear, but as long as I stay focused on that goal, clarity will come. So you start speaking life to yourself. And sometimes you are going to be the only you there is. But I believe, as Les Brown says, there's greatness within. And maybe you need someone to remind you of that. And thank God we're in this technology age that you can go to YouTube and find those motivational speakers that are just, all they're doing is pouring power into you and reminding you of who you are and who you were always designed to be. It's life that beats us up, that causes us to forget. So sometimes you need to plug into technology, plug into that YouTube, that motivational speaker, whoever it is, to help help you rise up again. Because you first have to believe in you. And then moment by moment, step by step, the clarity will come, the guidance will come, and eventually the resources and the people and the money and the opportunities will come.
Wow, that's powerful. I like what you said. Sometimes you are the only one there is. And a lot of times, for many of us, late in that midnight hour, in that 12th hour, we're crying and we start talking to ourselves. And I think that's huge what you said, that you must believe in you. Because even if you have someone to save you, you still have to believe in you enough. After the saving happens, you have to continue to keep on keeping on, as Gladys Knight would often say. So that's profound. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of times we hear people when it's all rose colored glasses and it's, the happily ever after. And yet sometimes people don't talk about, hey, wait a minute. What if it's not happily ever after? What if I'm still stuck? So let's talk about being stuck. Because a lot of times we have the foundation, we have the great self-talk, but we have that motivational block. Some people call it writer's block, those who are writers, who are authors, and they get stuck. So how have you been able to, one, identify that you're stuck? Because sometimes, would you agree that people don't know that they're stuck?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So when they get stuck, when you've been stuck, let's take it, let's keep it personal. When you've been stuck, how have you, one, identified it and accepted the fact that you were stuck, and how did you overcome having the strength within to continue to persevere?
I'll give you two examples if I can, and they're on the personal front. So I told you about what was happening in business at that time, with 2007, 2008. Because finances hit hard at home, I ended up getting divorced, unfortunately, and losing almost everything. Still maintain my home, but all of my savings, future goals and things that have been lost. And then the most devastating thing that no one wants to hear is, you have cancer. And not only was I diagnosed with a cancer, it's there's no cure. And all I heard was the name of the disease, which is long, the fact that it was rare, the fact that women typically don't get it, and it's very rare in the African American community, but somehow I had it, and that there, again, no cure and life expectancy. And I only cried once, and it was like a lonely teardrop. And I just remember sitting on my bed thinking, wow, this is crazy. This isn't supposed to be my life. And I didn't realize until a friend told me, so this is about not realizing you're stuck. A friend called me and they said, when's the last time you got out of the house? I'm like, I don't know. I've got things I'm dealing with. Dr. Lotus, it had been 4 months since I stepped foot outside my door, outside of going to the mailbox. I had stuff delivered to my house. I didn't go anywhere. And I remember sitting at the top of my stairs, staring out my Palladium window, singing, Am I Blue? I'm So Blue. And I was just wondering, what is this? Is this even the life I want to live anymore? I wasn't suicidal in thought, but I was just wondering, what's it all about? There's nothing here anymore. Nothing. There's nothing to stand on. It's like you have a three-legged stool of relationships, finances, and your business, and I didn't have any legs. I'm like, and when my friend said, you haven't moved, I was like, oh my gosh. And so he's like, I'm going to come get you and I'm going to take you out to lunch. Do you know, I was fearful. I literally was terrified of being in public because I felt people could see everything. They could read me. They could see the story, and I wasn't ready to tell the story. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was stuck like Chuck. I was stuck for a while. And I remember talking to my dad, and he said, you're in a dark pit. He said, but people are holding out their hand, but only you can reach up and let them pull you out. He said, but the choice is yours. If you want to stay and wallow, that's okay. But only you can decide when you will rise.
Can we go back? Can we? That's why I love your father. I want to go back to what your father said. Only you can. Would you share that again? Only you can.
Only you can decide when you're going to rise, because there are hands that are already there reaching, trying to help you get up, but you refuse to extend your hand. So until you extend your hand, they can't pull you up. You think about even the rescue missions and stuff, they may be removing rubble, right? But somehow that person has to be willing to relax, to allow them to put whatever it is underneath them to lift them up. But if they're choosing to hold on to whatever out of fear, no matter what those rescue workers do, they will not be able to lift them up without hurting them.
Wow. That's powerful. I just had to sit with that for a minute, because really only you can let go of what is holding you back. And what your father said, just phenomenal. He's left so many nuggets with us. People are oftentimes are reaching out, but because we won't reach back.
And sometimes it's shame, it's pride, right? I don't want people to know I need help. I got it all together. So on the outside, we look put together, but inside we are broken. We're struggling.
Yeah. And so when your dad said that to you, and folks, some of you that may just be joining us, or you're hitting the replay, I have the incredible LaWanna Bradford here with me today, and we're talking about, perseverance, what it means, how it starts, the foundation, and some of the things she's gone through in her life. And if this is resonating with you, go ahead and put a 20 in the comment, and also share this with someone that you know, because to your point, Dr. LaWanna, and I call her that all the time, I'm speaking this into existence. A lot of us have been told what goes on in this house stays in this house. So yes, we are ashamed, we are bashful. While everybody else is thinking that we have it together, we're looking in the mirror and saying we don't.
Right.
And many of us oftentimes are saying things that could end our life, not just our business. So I wanted to ask you, has there ever been a time where you just said, I want to close all the doors, I don't want to talk to anybody, and I can't reach out to that hand that your dad was talking about because you were afraid or frightened or ashamed?
I would say that's almost every day. It's, you realize that there's certain things that you may have in your makeup. And for me, it's, really praying that spirit of pride doesn't rise up. That when I'm challenged, it may not just be from a business. Maybe I just need someone to talk to. Mm-hmm. That there's no shame in me picking up the phone saying, I really need you to listen. And yes, for me, the last 18 months with Dad being gone, that's where I am. I am honestly right there every single day, because this is a new walk for me without this giant by my side. I don't have my sea legs yet. I may look like I got it all together, but many, many times I'm alone and I'm just crying because I feel so lost, yes, and detached and really unfamiliar with who this LaWanna is without Dad by my side. So every day it's a journey, it's a growth. I'm getting aha moments. I'm getting stronger. But there is fear at times. Yeah. There, like today, there's some certain questions I want to ask Dad, but I have to sit quiet and say, what would he say if he were here?
What would he say?
And, yep. And it's not putting Dad above God. I'm very spiritual. It's just God gave me a gift, mm-hmm, of having the dad that I had, to be that godly presence, mm-hmm, on earth for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that in my life anymore. In fact, I was telling my mom and brother, I said, since Dad's died, you never asked me how I feel. Not once.
Wow.
Not once. And they both looked at me because I'm always checking on them. How are you doing? What's going on? Do you want to talk? Not once. And they had no response. Because sometimes people look at those who are the strongest, who's carrying the load, as you got, you're fine. But often those people are the ones that are struggling the most because there is no outlet. There is no place of release. There is no one helping you to shoulder the burden.
Wow. So. And I can identify with that because oftentimes I'm in the same shoes, and there's no secret. And hey, Jada, I think thank you, Jada. She says loving this conversation so far. Thank you. Be sure to share this out, and thank you in advance for sharing. Oftentimes, I'm in the same situation, and no one asks, how you doing? My oldest nephew, though, I remember the first year I was without my mother, and Mother's Day and her birthday came around, and he called and he said, "Hey, I'm just calling you to see how you doing. How are you doing?" And it was tough because I was just torn up. But I also knew that he was torn up because my mother raised him. He lived with my mother most of his life and still lives in our family home. He's lived pretty much with my mother until she left this earth. He moved out one time, and then he was like, "Grandma, hey, can I come back home?" and my mom was like, "Of course." And my mother had always said that her and my dad always wanted to ensure that no matter what happened in life, if things got hard or whatever, we couldn't make it, we could come back home and restructure and get back out there and never give up. How are you, LaWanna? How are you?
Today is a good day. Today is a good day. It was a great weekend. My niece came down, so we went and volunteered. I did it solo last year, but volunteered to put the flags out for the veterans, and then 3 generations were able to be there at the ceremony on Monday, and it was good. It wasn't a sad time because I was now passing on legacy, helping her to understand, what all this meant, but also realizing my responsibility to help translate that story for that younger generation. So today is a good day. This week has been a good week. My birthday was last Friday, so from my birthday to now, it's been good. It's been good. And thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And this is one of the reasons we wanted to make sure we had you on the show, and because we knew your birthday, you just celebrated a birthday, and I could only imagine how tough it was without your dad. And you and I, we've had conversation, and I want to thank you, LaWanna, for coming to the show to commemorate your dad, because this show is for your dad, to let him know that he has left oil, that black gold on the planet for you. He gave to you, and now he's giving through you. And I'm just so thankful for him. And at our family reunions, we do something that I saw Miss Pearl, I think her name is Miss Pearl, she did for Miss Oprah Winfrey years ago when she had a huge event. And she honored her with a poem, and she spoke their name. And so today, Mr. Harlan, you taught us to know when to cut bait. So today, Mr. Harlan, we speak your name. Through your daughter, you've taught us to never quit, but just know when to cut bait. Through your daughter and your tenacity and perseverance of 69 years with Miss Bessie Bradford, Mr. Harlan, we speak your name. And I challenge each of you, those of you that might just be coming on, those of you that may be viewing this, rewatching it. And I know some of you are going to watch this show multiple times. Remember to speak Mr. Harlan's name. Remember to speak a name that has made a huge change for the better in your life. And also remember to speak Dr. LaWanna Bradford's name. Okay. All right. So it's amazing. Mr. Harlan was born in 1930, and he was a part of the United States Army then, which was segregated, but he still left a legacy. He paved the way for many of us to be able to even join the armed forces. My grandfather also fought in World War II in the Navy, and they paved the way. They taught us about perseverance. Yes. So, LaWanna, you are such a selfless person. You always give of yourself. You're always doing so much to help people. The one thing that you would love to receive, share that with us, if you will, whether it's from the viewers, supporters, or what have you. Because so many of us, we give. And oftentimes we never ask for anything. And no one ever asks us if there was something that we would ask of our viewers, of our supporters. What would that one thing be?
I would say the one thing, because just like you, I'm really interested in bringing the power of the voice to the stage. So if you or you know someone who has a story, especially on the business side, or an author that will help to transform lives, then I'd love to meet them and talk to them and see if it makes sense for them to be on our platform. Because I can touch one person, but together we can touch thousands and millions. So that's what I need. I would love to collaborate with individuals who know people who I may never meet except through an introduction from you.
Okay. Fantastic. So I know that, and I'm going to shift gears a little bit, but in alignment with perseverance, because I know that through your efforts of persevering on your shows and your business, there are other brilliant minds that have looked at you that say, hey, I want to connect with her. I want to do something with her. And I know that you have a few things that are coming up. Mm-hmm. You've got the Choose to Challenge. So I want to know about that. And I understand that you have partnered or are collaborating with a huge outfit. And I'm going to just say his name. I hope I don't get my hands spanked for this, but Mr. Sean Fair.
Yes.
For the leadership experience. And Sean's been doing it a long time. And that's Dr. Sean Fair, by the way. He's been doing it a long time. He's touched a lot of lives. And so have you. So can we kind of tiptoe to the tulips about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So you mentioned Choose to Challenge, and that's one of my three shows that I have. And these are streaming TV shows on e360tv.com. And we're actually, can you believe, in our 7th year of these shows. So Choose the Challenge is a show designed for individuals who are sick and tired of things being as they are, sick and tired of being bottled and boxed in and told that you can only be a certain thing. It's for individuals that have found a way to expand and bust through the walls, bust through the barriers, and elevate to their highest selves. So we want to interview people like you. There's nothing off limits on this show. So we'll go as raw and as deep as you want to take it. The other show is Power of the Pen, where we feature authors' books. If you may not even be an author, but there's a book that inspired you, then we want to hear from you as well, and resources for authors, because it's really important that authors know how to promote and market their books, and that's where Dr. Lotus comes in. So that's what we do in creating collaboration. And then the third is Business and Financial Raw Talk, where we're looking for cutting edge leaders in the business and financial lanes to tell us how to navigate in this changing environment, because we are in an environment of disruption. Yesterday's gone. We're never going back there. So we want to have those deep dive conversations to give people tools and tactics in order to create opportunities for sustainability. And yes, my partnership with Dr. Sean Fair has been amazing. I participated in the Leadership Experience Tour, which is a brand speaking experience for individuals who want to be professional speakers. I participated 3 years ago and just became a huge fan of the ecosystem that he's developed. And he reached out to me earlier this year, and he's like, you are doing so much about, telling people about this. Would you like to consider being a strategic partner? And so I am a white label partner with the Leadership Experience Tour. And I'm excited that I'm going to be there with you and so many other brilliant minds in August. We're going to be in Detroit at the University of Michigan, one of their facilities. So it's going to be exciting times.
Yes. And you are totally blazing trails. You are totally blazing trails. And a lot of people may not know just how celebrated you are. So I wanted to take this moment to give you your flowers. I love the fact that you're on the front cover of this magazine, because it is about business, and you are about the business of business. You're about the business of life, about the business of helping people. And you redefine success every day and in every way. So I'm really proud to know you. I'm really proud to share this with you. And I can't wait to see you on the Sean Fair Leadership Experience Tour. And if we're able, can we chat about that for a minute? Because I know that you took stage on the Leadership Tour quite some time ago. And there are so many people that get to come through that experience. How did you get to that experience and persevere through that experience? And why would you share that this would be a great place for people to connect with and become a part of as they move forward in their journey, whether it's speaking or business or networking, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a very powerful question. So there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher shows up, right? The teacher will appear. And I was so we're going on 3.5 years ago, I was challenged by one of my coaches, and he said, LaWanna, you're doing all this great stuff. You're promoting people, blah, 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 blah. And we know about the Bradford group. He said, but who are you? And this has been my coach at that time of 16 years. I'm like, what do you mean, who am I? People know who I am. They said, do they? Or are you assuming they do? Are you controlling the narrative, or are you letting other people control it? They may know the Bradford group, but who is LaWanna Bradford? Right. And I got really angry. You see, there's a trend there with LaWanna, but I don't have an anger management problem. but I was offended. I guess that's a better way of saying it. And I sat in that for a couple months, and someone introduced me to Sean. And so he was having auditions at that time, and I participated. And he said, you would be great for the platform. And I didn't know what to expect because it's one of those things. It's like knowing about Disney, right? Disneyland, Disney World, but you've never been.
Right.
But when you walk through the gates, you're like, oh, whoa. Well, that's what the Leadership Experience Tour is about.
Yeah.
You know, it's for speakers. You know, it's to help promote your brand and build your brand. But until you walk through those doors and the cameras are flashing and you see the different banners set up and you see the different studio rooms, multi-camera actions happening, it's overwhelming and it's exciting. And I have photos of me like when I walk through the door and then my professional shots that are done there. Literally, Dr. Lotus, I look like a totally different person. And it wasn't because of the makeup. It was because of the level of confidence that came in 3 days of high intensity, boot training like activity, networking with people who were on the same path as me. So that's what I believe the Leadership Tour does. That's very different from many other platforms, is it taps into your genius, gives you a platform where you can shine, has all the technical magic going around you, capturing you from every single angle. When you're on stage, you've got moving cameras, you've got still cameras, you've got photographers, and you got to stay laser focused because that can be quite distracting if you're not used to that. And then just what he gives you, they over deliver for the price. You leave there not talking about your professional photography package, but just the group of photos that you happen to be in, or 200 plus photos that you get. So think about what that does for building your collateral. You get ongoing training, the networks, the other opportunities, the doors that have opened. And because of that, I was at the Super Bowl and Super Bowl Media Week, and so many things have elevated because that opportunity opened the door for me to walk into my greatness. So I want to say that again, open the door for me to walk in. I had to do the walking. I had to stand up. I had to have the belief and the confidence to say, you know what? I do operate on this level. I'm not playing small anymore. I don't want that. I want this and more.
I like that. I like that a lot because, you know, sometimes, and again, it goes back to you can go far all by yourself, but you can go even further with people who understand you, who look forward to being a part of what you're doing, and who actually see your greatness. So I can't wait to see you on the stage. I can't
Can
wait.
I share something with you? Because I know you're going to be selling tickets for, because
Yes.
it's in person, but then there's also a virtual component. So follow Dr. Lotus to find out how you can get your virtual. So you'll hear all these dynamic speakers from the stage. But also, I'm going to be doing a training. I just sent this in to Sean last night. So my training is called The Strategic Interview, How to Show Up, Stand Out, and Stay Top of Mind. Because most people just randomly think, well, I'm the expert. I'm just going to show up without preparation. That's not what you want. You want to position yourself so you are memorable, indelible, and are invited back again. And I break down what it takes to do that.
That's awesome. I can't wait to share that. And yes, I will. I am sharing tickets with you. For those of you that want your ticket, it's a $50 ticket if you're going to be online. And then if you're going to join us in Missouri, what's that price again, LaWanna?
In Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit.
I think it's either 75 or 100. I don't remember the in person. I've just been helping people push the virtual.
Pardon me.
And also with the virtual, let's say you're looking at it, it's like, well, Dr. Lotus, I can't make those days. I actually have an obligation. It's okay. Buy your ticket anyway, because it's going to stay on demand for 18 months. So you can go back and listen over and over and over again.
Yes. And I like that because the knowledge never stops. You never stop learning. And if you use that and just connect with the people that are there, and connect with Sean, connect with LaWanna, connect with myself, you're gonna have a serious, wonderful time. So as you can see, I was looking for something earlier that had kind of distracted me, but I want to let you know that you can go right here, and I'm going to put this in the chat for you because I want you to grab this. Go and check out this tour. You're going to be so amazed at the tour, at who's speaking on the tour. And yes, I'm speaking on the tour. And so we want to have you there. Now, thank you for letting me kind of shift gears. Now I'm going to shift back before we close our show. LaWanna, you are a brilliant person. You're a kind person. You are a person who desires that others do well. But not only do you desire that, just like you shared, you're going to be teaching people and you're going to be training people during the leadership experience. Because after all, it's about leadership. And what I've learned is that, and there's a wonderful quote about this, great leaders create great leaders. And I know that there's some people out there that's trying to figure it out. They don't know. Some of them have been on all types of tours and still they went nowhere. Yeah. What would you say to that person about not giving up, one, and what can you tell them about what they can expect to receive when they come, whether it's in person or online, to the leadership experience as per what they're going to hear from you? You got the floor.
Well, I want to first encourage you that if you know that you are in your calling and in your lane, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, what is your life's blueprint? And this is where my R3 system was born, which is a strategic element that says refocus, reframe, reconnect. And sometimes we have to keep spinning those concepts in our head, refocusing, looking at all the pieces in your life, all the puzzle pieces, and determining how they fit together at this point in time. Then redesign your lane. It's okay to rewrite the blueprint. You know, we want to rebuild a house, do a different blueprint. Decide the rules of the game, who's going to be the players on the field. But the third piece, which is the reconnect, and this is where so many people fall short and miss success, is that's the belief. It's reconnecting to you, to your belief system that says, you know what? I understand the environment. I've developed the lane. Now I have the belief system to step into this, step on the playing field and win. What cripples us is belief. It really is. Our outside is a mirror of what's inside. And that took me a long time to receive and to say, you know what, I've got some accountability here, LaWanna. So I want to just encourage you to keep pressing, don't give up, and don't let money be your motivating factor. Because if you're chasing the dollars, it's going to always be elusive. But if you're chasing the calling, the money will come. And then what you can expect from me, as I said, people want to be seen. You want to be on platforms, interviews. But interviews without strategy is just visibility. You remember those big floppy things on the side of the road for businesses? You see them, you notice. That's visibility. Do you want to be the floppy thing on the side of the road that has no substance? Or do you want to have impact? Do you want to be indelible? Do you want to have a solid infrastructure in your message, in your delivery, in your presence? That's what you're going to get from me.
Fantastic. So with no further ado, again, we thank you, Miss LaWanna Bradford, Dr. LaWanna Bradford, for being here today. And we look forward to seeing all of you on one of our upcoming shows, and definitely at the Leadership Experience, and also at the Leadership Experience Tour, and also at the Ignite Your Life for Life Summit when women exhale. And we are going to bring LaWanna back here in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to let her be one of the first to tell you about the Ignite Your Life Alive Summit When Women Exhale. Why? Because she's one of the MCs. Yes, she is. Her and the phenomenal Kim Jacobs from the Kim Jacobs Show. You want to be in this room for the Ignite Your Life Alive Summit When Women Exhale. And so for those of you that are looking to join us on the Sean Fair Leadership Experience Tour, somewhere around this broadcast, you're going to see the link where you can go ahead and get your ticket, whether you're in person or online. We're going to give you something that's going to tantalize your mind. So until we meet again, be blessed, don't stress, don't take no mess as you ignite and take flight in every area of your life. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Lotus.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for watching the show and follow us on YouTube. Ring that bell so you don't miss a thing.
See you on the next episode of the Lotus Riche Ignite Show, where we're helping you to ignite and take flight in every area of your life.
And if you want to be a guest on the show, please connect with us at lotus@lotusricheigniteyou.com. Ignite your mind and ignite your life.